Our new poll is out. The survey shows that young male voters are more pessimistic and nihilistic about America and its political system than older men. But it also demonstrates that young male voters' top priorities are conventional issues such as inflation, jobs, the economy, corruption, crime, healthcare, and Vice President Kamala Harris's vulnerabilities with this group are on the areas that voters tend to trust Democrats less on, like inflation, immigration, and national security. Men ages 18 to 29, nearly all politicians are corrupt, make money from their political power. Yeah, facts, correct. I would rather be born in America than any other country in the world. Okay, well, that's 47% is actually kind of low. Look at men 50 plus. They're like, oh, I love, That's damning, dude. The fact that men under the age of 30 are only at a net 47 for being born in the United States of America is like, that generational divide implies that there is some serious material changes that have happened, dude. That is crazy. And no, it's not because they're fucking based, chatter, before you think. No. And no, it's not because they wish for a fucking anime waifu and that's why they wish to be an otaku in Japan, born in Japan. That's not what they're wishing for. It's because they literally look to their future fucking prospects in comparison to the prior generation and they don't see anything positive. This is the underlying material harm that young men see. They recognize it. They live with it every fucking day. I talked about this extensively on CNN with Donny O'Sullivan when I was on Misinfo Nation. If you guys recall, this is precisely what I was talking about in terms of like what is radicalizing young men. It's the top of the hour ad break. The American dream has not been equally accessible to all, 44%. I'm proud to be an American, 42%. America is in decline, 42%. America is a force for good in the world, 33%. The values and culture that America, what it is, are disappearing, 30%. Black and African American people face systemic disadvantages in America, 24%. Men plus 50 say -1. Men over the age of 50 look to Black and African American people and these systemic disadvantages that they experience and go, nah, dude, that is insane. It's net agreement. So that means more people disagree than agree. It means 51%. Or what, 52%? No, 51% of people disagree with it. American systems of power are built on the marginalization of minorities, 24%. So what we're seeing here, what we're experiencing here is that like young men are a lot more, like in some respects, they're a lot more woke than older men. But most significantly, they are 1000% recognizing that America is no longer the land of prosperity that it once was for their father's generation, for their father's generation. That's what it is. America has a history of racism and discrimination that is worse than most countries, 21%. America has become an oligarchy, not a democracy, 20%. Palestinians have a right to resist Israeli occupation through violence, 17%. Men net agreement, -42% men net agreement for people over the age of 50. There is no way. That is insane, dude. Look at that generational divide. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I've been telling you. This is what I keep repeating over and over again. If you grew up with a metric ton of insane pro-Israeli propaganda in mainstream discourse, Israel is the greatest nation on earth. It's the most moral nation on earth. They made the desert bloom. Israel is the startup nation. It's the only democracy in the region. Israel is fighting all of our enemies for us. If that's the only thing that you saw, you are at odds with reality and you are at odds with a shit ton of the population under the age of 30. What an insane fucking statement, dude. What an insane disparity. I think that's the biggest gap. America's a global imperial oppressor. Yeah, America is a global imperial oppressor, -45 versus 8. And then we get to America has become overrun by immigrants, 5%. Look at that. 5-point agreement. Look at a few up. Elections in America don't represent people like me. America's at risk of becoming a fascist country, 14-19. What the Wait, what? Most people are racist, sexist, and biased, whether they admit it or not. 16, yes. -12. Me when HasanAbi has a massive male audience, but I've never met a man who has considered putting a pronoun in his bio. I've never met a man that is even close to being a leftist IRL like men are. Wait, what? Dude, putting a fucking pronoun in your bio is neither here nor there. Like, who gives a fuck if you do that? that's not like being that's not what we're saying anyway, but that's not what being a leftist is about. When we look at stuff like this is primo for radicalization, okay? This environment is primo. These guys are primed to be radicalized. Either radicalized towards the truth, which is that the systemic problems that you are experiencing in terms of not having any future prospects that you think are positive is directly caused by capitalism, or radicalized in a really nefarious way for evil, saying it's actually the fucking, brown people that are ruining your fucking life. It's actually the women in video games that are ruining your fucking life. Look at what the these people think. Look, elections in America don't represent people like me, 13%. Plus 13 net approval. America's more the bad guy than the good guy, plus 11 net approval. There's a great replacement of America's currently happening, 9. That's plus 9 net approval, plus 10 for men over the age of 50. There's gonna be some fucking Hitler guys in there, okay? Of course. They are being shown. But what you have to remember is, I love that this, by the way, there's a great replacement of America's currently happening is at plus 9. America has become overrun by immigrants is at plus 5. That's literally a lighter version, dude. Some of them think it's black people replacing whites and some think it's immigrants. Yeah, that makes sense. That's got to be the only thing. I feel like people answering this don't know the great replacement phrase and its historical meaning. No, for sure. But like, what do people think is being replaced here? It doesn't matter who wins elections. Nothing changes. Plus 3, minus 20. It's accurate to describe America as a hellscape, dystopia, or a dying empire. Plus 3. Nothing any politician has ever done has helped me. Plus 1. America should pay reparations to black and African American people as compensation for slavery and racial oppression. Minus 2, minus 50 for men over the age of 50. I'm not joking when I say this. I mean, obviously, America is a very deeply white supremacist country. However, Americans should pay reparations to black and African American people as compensation for slavery and racial oppression. Sitting at minus 2 in net agreement for men in between the ages of 18 to 29 is one of the most shockingly progressive things I've seen when I track it against American political history. That is unimaginably progressive for what America has been about. If you want to understand what America historically looked like, look no further than men plus 50 net agreement. That's very interesting. This also directly goes against the idea that like all of these young men are little fucking rabid psychopaths. Now, obviously, I shouldn't be, you already know this because you are in this demographic group and you don't fit that mold. And there are many others like you. This is precisely what I talked to the Podjohns about. Obviously, anti-China sentiment works really well. Russia has a better impact on the world than America, minus 48, minus 69. Prisons and police, as we know them, should be abolished, minus 14, minus 69. America should pay reparations at minus 2. The economy or jobs, relative importance ages plus 50 is minus 7. That's funny. Inflation, jobs, very important. The economy, 19%, 18%, 19%. Corruption, 14%, 12%, 13%. Crime, 13%, 12%, 13%. 18 to 29, relative importance. Social Security and Medicare, 10%. Government spending and the budget deficit, 9%. Relative importance for 30 to 49-year-olds, 5%. Relative importance for people ages of 50 plus, 16%. Government spending and the budget deficit. We need to send everyone over the age of 50 to Mars alongside Elon Musk. We need to ship them out right now. No, you're done. You're gone. You tell me that you give a f*** about this. You're going to Mars, okay? One-way ticket. Go deal with the fucking budget over there. You're gonna die tomorrow, old man. Oh my God. At least 16% of people aged 50 plus need to be deported to Mars. Okay. National security and foreign policy, 9%, minus 2%, 19%. Climate change and environment, 9%, minus 2%, minus 6%. Men and boys failing behind in education and jobs, 3%, minus 1%, minus 14%. Yeah, transgender issues. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh my God, we literally do not care at all. Just understand something, chat. This right here proves the point that I am making, okay? You understand that, right? It is literally the lowest. The things that I routinely fucking explain to people are the lowest. No one fucking cares, dude. No one cares. Cryptocurrency, you can't even force me at gunpoint to care about cryptocurrency. One thing that I do find that's like kind of shocking in terms of relative importance, the fact that Israel-Palestine is actually less important for younger men, seemingly, than it is for older men is kind of shocking. Is that framed as helping transgender people? Yes. When people say they do not give a f about trans issues, yes, that's a good thing for trans people, okay? It's a bad thing for trans people when right-wingers actually take advantage of that lack of interest to just like farm a bunch of fucking anti-trans bills. But it's actually a good thing for trans people overall because most people don't give a shit enough to be like, we want to kill trans people in the form of legislation. Do you understand what I'm saying? That has been my point, by the way. There are not enough Matt Walsh-style people. Anyway, men trust Harris on abortion plus 18. Net trust. Transgender issues plus 11. Education plus 11. Healthcare plus 10. Climate change environment plus 9. Social Security and Medicare plus 9. Political correctness plus 3. Energy 0. I wonder why. Election integrity minus 1. Wait, what? Men and boys falling behind in education minus 1. Corruption minus 2. What the f? Yo, no wonder she's getting fucking cleaned out, dude. This is weird. This stuff makes sense up here. But if people are looking at Kamala Harris and being like, nah, I think Trump is more trustworthy on election integrity, what the f is going on? If people actually look at Trump being better on men and boys falling behind in education and jobs, I get it. That might be a little misogynistic. That's fine. Corruption minus 2. What the f is going on? Cancel culture makes sense because Democrats are pussies. That's fine. They like own cancel culture, even though Republicans do cancel culture way more frequently. But Democrats, they've been able to very successfully present the Democratic Party as the cancel culture party in perpetuity, despite doing the overwhelming majority of cancellations. I myself have been the recipient of such cancellation attacks with my commentary on 9/11 and whether America deserved it or not, and numerous other instances where I've been canceled by fucking opponents of mine, ideological opponents of mine. But once again, that's neither here nor there. It's just Democrats own it for the most part because Republicans have propagandized it. Anyway, the decline of the family, the opioid epidemic, minus 5. Dude, the Biden administration, love them, hate them. Everybody here agrees that they're doing genocide, okay? But there is one thing that they have also done, which is lower the fucking number of opioid overdoses for the first time in the last multiple decades. That is crazy. Once again, people are just like looking at the reality and going, I don't give a fuck, dog. Fuck the reality. The Biden administration has lowered opioid overdoses through harm reduction policies. That is straight up the fucking case. That is literally reality. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I can understand how people can be like, oh, like on the economy, they're going to suck. On Israel, Palestine, they're sucking. So I think they're going to suck even more. But like, this is something that is directly at odds with reality. Oh, my head hurts. My head hurts from all of this. Man, every time one of these fucking polls come out, it's just like, it kills me. It's basically reaffirming every single thing I've said. It's basically like one big thing where they're like, hey, you know what? Like, hey, you know what, Hasan, you were right. You were so fucking right. Let me tell you how right you were. Let me tell you what everything you've said has been, how everything you've said has been totally correct. Okay, in terms of Kamala Harris's messaging, in terms of what they're focusing on and what they should be prioritizing. Everything you've done is correct. It kills me. It breaks my fucking brain.